Okay, so little Honda finally ran out of propane out of that 11-pound bottle, and we are at 143 hours now. Started out at like 128, so that's right about 15 and a half hours. And of course, that's how I was using it, and I didn't have a kilowatt meter on there or nothing. I had it uh, plugged into the house, basically just doing random shit, um, running the house off it. Sometimes pulling more power off it than others, but um, so yeah, here's this little cute 11-pound propane bottle. This one is a Flame King one, and I guess show you kind of the size of it there, and then that would be a 30-pound next to it. Um, so really neat, cute little propane bottle, but I figured I'd show how I go about filling this thing because, of course, you can take it down to, normal propane dealer, but, I got one of these hoses to go between the two propane bottles and find it just as easy to fill it this way. But one thing that's kind of neat about the Flame King bottles is they have like a coarser thread on the valve, and so if we assume is that being upright there where it says close, it's only a turn and a quarter to go from completely closed to completely open on that valve. I thought that was kind of neat. But anyways, yeah, came across a couple videos of people filling their propane bottles and shit, and granted, all the videos that I saw worked anyways, but they would like pour hot water on one bottle and cold water on another, or stick one in the freezer or something like that, and yada yada yada. And like I said, they all work, they all achieve the same goal, but it's just a more difficult way to get there. These do have a little bleeder screw on the side that you can just crack open and let the excess pressure off of, or let, not excess, but let the gas off the top of the bottle that you're transferring into, and then liquid will fill into it. But so this bottle's totally empty because I just ran it down with the little Honda, and it's cool because that little Honda engine, I don't know if you can even hear it, and that Hutch Mountain kit and everything will run these bottles down to essentially zero pressure. Obviously, there's a tiny amount in there, but nothing really. But anyway, so transfer hose hooked up. This valve is open on this one here. Got the 30-pound bottle inverted to pull liquid off the bottom of it. And then that is liquid propane going from this bottle to this bottle. The reason that this one is turned upside down is to fill it, to push liquid into that one there. I watched a lot of videos of people trying to do it right side up, and they were transferring gas, and like I said, it worked and everything, but it just seems like a unnecessarily difficult way to do it. But you can actually feel it running through the line, and you probably hear it right now too. But the little dip tube that this bleeder is hooked up to runs down into the tank to where it would be like there's a little draw straw that runs into the tank that would be 80% fill. So, and I guess hopefully you can hear now, and you can feel that the transfer liquid has stopped because the pressures have equalized between the two tanks. And so we'll crack this open, bleed the propane vapor off the top of it until we get a spritz of liquid out of there. And once we get a spritz of liquid out of there, then we'll close that vent and close the main valve, and we'll be good to go. And I hear a lot of people saying it, and I don't know, it just kind of irritates me. It's not the end of the world, but it just kind of irritates me. People crack that and like, oh, you got to let the air out of the tank. Well, there is no fucking air in the tank, assuming that it's been purged, anyways. But there is no fucking air in the tank because it's full of propane. This that's coming out of there is not air; it's vaporized propane. But the purpose of that, like I said, opening this little vent not only so you know when you hit the 80% level, say if you're filling it at normal gas station or whatever, but in this case was to reduce the pressure in this tank, and then if this tank has a higher pressure than this tank, and because we have it flipped upside down, liquid from the bottom of it will flow through the hose and into that one. And then any propane tank that's got a triangle valve on top of it has got an overfill protection device in it, which essentially it's like a little float like you'd have in like the bottom of a carburetor, like a float in a toilet or whatever. Once the liquid level rises enough, it'll actually shut off the input of propane into it. And it's kind of like watching paint dry, but certainly more convenient than having to run down to local gas station or whatever. And then I guess just because here Flame Team's got those little refillable 1 pound bottles too. I got a bunch of these. These have a 80% bleed on the side of it too. So you can see the little screw right there and then a little bleed port right there. But yeah, these little refillable 1 pounds are pretty sweet. Sure do like them. Oh, and this feels like it's taking forever. Holy crap. These little 1 pounders, um, there's 1,001 videos online about these things, but these things fill in, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds, something like that. But they also have a rather large bleed screw on it, and also you're only filling 1 pound, not 11 like this one here. Not that 11 pounds is a lot, but more than one. I'm thinking probably the reason this has taken so long is that I started out with that vent line, or the vent closed. And then, obviously when I first opened the valve there, you could hear a huge rush of liquid into there. And then because I gave it time, and so there you go. But anyways, what I was going to say is normally this goes a lot faster, but normally I start with the vent line open. Um, uh, Before letting in the liquid, and so I think the reason it took longer this time was I wanted to wait for the sound difference of when you could hear the transfer stop, just because of the fact that the tanks equalize pressure. And so then, you know, obviously if the tanks are equal pressure, then you have to, you know, just be patient and wait for the vent line here to lower the pressure in this one, continuously lower the pressure in this one, lower than this bottle here, where if you were to start with the vent open and the main valve open, it'd probably go, well, it does go a shitload faster. But even then, what would that take, 9 minutes? Something like that? It's not bad. And then in the case of my hose, I don't have a shutoff valve and a bleed on it, just because I was being a cheap ass when I bought the hose. But it's no big deal. You just have to be aware of it. Make sure valves are shut off on both tanks, and then you have to let it vent the hose like so. And then once it's vented, ta-da, there you go. A lot easier than I've seen some people do it.